Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pull Focus, the cinema-based entertainment podcast where a couple of freelancers come together to talk shop. My name is Mike, and as usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, actor, director, world traveler.
Oi, hello.
Mr. Robert Andrus.
Well, thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
You're going to be doing that the entire podcast?
Why not?
Oh, God.
Here we are, mate. Oh, God. Yeah. No, I just, I flew first class back from London a few hours ago.
Gosh, man, that's intense.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, hey, guys, welcome back. We know it's been a little bit of time since we've been able to get together, but, when it comes to the Salt Lake movie scene, independent and otherwise, we're kind of a big deal. So, I mean, we have to...
Big is an understatement, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I'm
gigantic,
large at the very least.
To quote one of my favorite movie quotes, gargantuan.
It's one of my favorite words to implicit to talk about size.
Gargantuan.
No,
we so rarely get a chance to use that.
Right? You can use it as much as you want as long as you don't use it in the English accent. Because I've heard your English accent, and it's better than that, but I appreciate the gag. It's very good. We have not been able to cross paths for a couple months, and it's because, we're just staying busy. And it's always a good thing when you take some time out of your very busy schedule, Robert, and you're able to come into my studio kitchen.
Yes.
And we can talk about just
movies,
just
fun
chill
stuff.
out and whatever.
Yes.
And this one is definitely one that we got to talk about because it is by far the most interesting / weirdest movie I've seen all year.
And I have some strong opinions about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about it.
Me too. We're going to jump right into it then. And some of you are probably wondering, oh my gosh, what's going on? What could they possibly be talking about? We're going to be talking about The Dead Don't Die, the latest Jim Jarmusch film. And, let's just jump into the trailer and then we can all just take it from there.
In this peaceful town, on these quiet streets, something terrifying, something horrifying is coming.
Excuse me, we're closed. Get away from me!
What the hell was it? A wild animal?
Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
really awful. Maybe the worst thing I've ever seen.
What was it, wild animals?
So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking zombies.
What?
You know, the undead.
Just the look on her face.
Ghouls.
You look gorgeous. Oh my. Are you in this together?
Flesh-eating zombies.
Don't joke, it's really, really creepy.
Oh, man. This isn't gonna end well. They gravitate towards things they did when they were alive.
Coffee.
Chardonnay.
Did you just say Chardonnay?
Yeah, she did.
Welcome to my world, zombies.
I've been telling you this is all gonna end badly.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I'm quite confident of my ability to defend myself against the undead.
I can see that.
Excuse me. Those are some pretty good cuts. You played some minor league ball, didn't you? Well, a little Class A. It was a long time ago.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're talking about, once more, guys, this is The Dead Don't Die. This is the latest film that we have from the legend of independent film, directing by Mr. Jim Jarmusch. Honestly, the first thing that comes to my head whenever I see the trailer or anything like that is how they did not market this movie.
No, they didn't.
As what it was. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Because it's just one of those things where you got this director who has garnered a whole lot of fame, but hardcore on the independent circuit. And you could argue that the majority of his filmography is not very commercially adaptive. You know, I mean, we're talking about like films like Coffee and Cigarettes, Ghost Dog, all good movies, but not great when it comes to, you know, trying to, you know, put it up for like a press pass or for commercials or that kind of thing. So, well, I was hit by the rope-a-dope here because the trailer made me think it was going to be something more like Zombieland. And then when I found
thought
out,
it was a sequel to Zombieland when I
exactly,
first saw it.
Exactly.
Right.
But then you hear that Jarmusch's name is on it. It's like, what?
I'm confused.
Yeah. What were your initial kind of feelings when you had it? Were you thinking about the same thing that I was? Where like, you know, 15 minutes in, you're like, oh wait, this is
15
not.
minutes.
Or, okay, 15 seconds, I guess, right?
15 minutes in is a song and a very interesting setup for the farmer's chicken.
I know.
Like story.
Oh yeah, hold on a second.
No, God!
No, the other one.
Spoiler alert.
Thank you.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
if it's in the first act, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah,
I'm
true.
just gonna call that.
I feel you.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is a chicken story here.
Yes, and
there is a chicken story.
And if you want to go far enough with it, a murder mystery in regards to the chicken.
Indeed.
But that's the deep cut.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think that if they marketed it for what the movie was, I think the marketing would have been more successful.
Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, okay, so how many times did you hear the word polar fracking?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, it was really interesting because when I watched it, I'm just like, in a world where polar fracking has destroyed the Earth's axis and has now begun a zombie apocalypse,
exactly.
blah, 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 blah. Right? I mean, then I know exactly what I'm in for.
Yeah. And in case anybody who's listening is wondering, let's jump into that plot a little bit, because a plot is not. I mean, this is like super like old school zombie stuff. It is this weird out of the way stuff that you would see like in Toxic Avenger and stuff like that back in the 80s as a concept to what's causing the zombies to come out, all these monsters. Apparently, there's a too much Chardonnay.
Bless you.
Thank you. Apparently,
Chardonnay.
Apparently, there's a lot of polar fracking going on in the world in this movie, and that is knocking the Earth off of axis, and also some sort of weird thing happening with the moon is causing the dead to rise, and then chaos ensues in the small southern town.
Absolutely. I can't remember the phrase that he used, but I wanted to like commit that to memory, and it's not there anymore. It's gone.
About the polar fracking, or about Centersville, or
about the moon aura.
Whatever
that phrasing was.
Tom Waits said it like a lot. I mean, Tom Waits is in this movie. I mean, the cast of this film is
a phenomenal cast.
It really is.
It's a really great cast. I mean, just looking at the poster. The poster's phenomenal.
Well, yeah, it's
like
great.
if I'm a horror genre like super fan or just a fan in general, that poster is awesome.
It is awesome,
and I want to go see it. I mean, just the cast alone, and I think that if Bill Murray did nothing but the trailer,
he'd be fine.
I think he would be fine.
And that would
because that's like some of the sweetest moments in the movie.
Absolutely.
Just for him. I love it.
And that's kind of like, that would be like a nice joke to go in, because this movie had me. Okay, so even though we're dealing with like talents of like Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tom Waits, Chloe Sevigny, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover coming back after not doing a movie for years, and we see just this the way in which they use the dialogue in it is hardcore Jarmusch. It's very undertone. It's very calm. It's very interesting in that particular way. And this dryness that comes through the dialogue makes the jokes come out even more, which means like that there's this ongoing thing about the animals, or maybe several, that are the ones that are killing the zombies when they see like the death scenes.
Do you think it was a savage animal? or not savage? What did they say?
I think was it a wild animal? And then
wild animal? No.
Do you think it was several wild animals? Like, this joke should not hit, but because everybody plays this deadpan, any kind of introduction of humor or anything is like, oh my God, I'm laughing at it. That's ridiculous.
Well, and then they just flat out call it zombies.
Yeah.
They call it what it is.
Yeah.
I really like that they brought the pop culture, the store into kind of help sell the idea that it is pop culture.
It's because the way in which they're introducing the characters and the plot, which they throw away in the first 5 minutes, which is kind of, if you're familiar with Jim Jarmusch, he cares more about the scene and more about the acting interaction. Some of his films actually have a number of scenes where like the actors just improvise and they put that to print.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many scripts he actually gives out.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, versus scenes.
A question that was answered a little bit in the end of the movie when they broke the fourth wall.
But they really didn't though.
You don't think so?
Well, because they didn't include us.
They guess,
just broke character.
Right.
But it would have been fun if they had actually used first names.
Yeah, like
Will,
if they
Bill,
went
Will,
Bill, Adam, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because then it would be a little bit more in. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird how they did that.
This whole movie was weird,
right?
And like that's the thing that's really got me kind of still excited about it because I'm still thinking about it. You know, and the question that I'm trying to ask myself is. Was he doing all of this on purpose or not? Jim Jarmusch is an incredibly capable director,
well,
and it
has to be on purpose.
I know, but like
it just has to be, and there's got to be some sort of reason for it.
Right.
Don't ask me what it is for some of the side stories.
When we go through and we check the cast that's here, we have Oscar winners, we have Emmy winners, Oscar-nominated actors and actresses, and everything. And when you look at these sites online that cull a lot of these different critics online that come through, one of the things that pops up a lot is that there's a lot of cringeworthy moments, that there's a lot of boring dialogue, that the flow of this movie is really, really slow, and it is. And this is something that has to be taken into consideration when you're watching it, because I don't think people understand, and I don't fully understand, that this might be something that Jarmusch is doing on purpose in order to kind of make fun of the zombie genre, I think.
Well, and I would say that the pacing was completely intentional.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think that was happenstance or editing or anything else. I think it was absolutely intentional. And I definitely agree with you that he was making fun. There were a lot of moments in there where I thought he was maybe even doing strange crossover.
Yeah, yes, a little bit. I think there were probably certain days on the shoot where he just didn't give a shit, like literally, and just took it anyway.
I want that job.
I know,
so bad.
But it comes after 30 years of experience and being successful on the independent circuit.
Yeah, I would really be curious to find out if he's just like, well, yeah, this day can go to hell because I'm just gonna let my people do whatever they want.
But that could be challenging for people who are like, how many people do you think got roped into this because of the trailer, didn't know who Jim Jarmusch was, and then they come in and they end up leaving the theater halfway through the movie?
Well, I thought it was a sequel to Zombieland.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
So there's that.
But it's one of these weird things where like it's such a gamble. I mean, that something like this is going to be high on the independent scene, and that the
you've got huge independent actors in there as well as the gigantic stars.
Right.
So
it's a gamble. It really is. This movie isn't making money. I mean, I think.
But has it made its money back?
That's a good question.
And that's the question: box office versus cost.
So the opening weekend got around 2 million, 2.5 million.
Worldwide, as of July 14th, is 12 million.
Okay.
I don't know that would cover the cost of this cast.
Not with this whole cast, no. And the production value is pretty low. We have minimal special effects. We have stuff going in with the
zombie stuff is incredible.
Zombie stuff is great. Okay, so let's talk about that, because whenever they are treating the zombies more like the Mummy kind of situation that pops in. True to form, in order for you to kill a zombie in Jim Jarmusch's film, you have got to cut off the head and destroy it. But it isn't going to be like this messy, gory thing, which honestly I think has been overplayed because of like 28 Days Later and all the TV series of zombies.
I love.
I've gotten over it, honestly. What happens with these is like they treat it like the Mummy. They're all mummified. They've been dead for a long time, and it comes up like powders of charcoal coming out of them whenever they get their heads cut off, which is I thought it was good. It's a cheap effect. It looks good, and what I think
it would
that
have
has
been cool
to be,
if it was fracking sludge. You know what I mean?
We'll talk about the quote unquote political messages of the film,
because that would be funny to me.
Man, I was reading other reviews and that just bothered the fuck out of me. Pardon my language, but seriously, it bothered me how people were getting on top of the story, being like, "Oh, I don't need to be preached to about political stuff like environment and everything." I honestly think
that's part of what this is.
It's part of what it is.
Let it be what it is.
But also, don't take it so seriously.
It's a zombie movie, dumbass. What are you watching? That's what I say to that person.
Yeah, I don't want to be talked
I don't
down
want to be preached to. You paid to watch this movie.
Yeah.
You're watching what they're presenting you.
Exactly.
Let it be what it is.
You don't watch.
Be affected by it. Great.
You don't watch Jim Jarmusch in order to follow guidelines on plot. You watch him because he has this way of being able to get these incredible actors together that have to act down, which is so hard. You're an actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know how easy it is to emote things when you got like the trick to do it. I don't know whether or not you have like, a pair of needle nose pliers and you're pulling hair out of your leg to get tears out of your eyes when you have to cry in a scene. But when you're dealing with, when you are supposed to not dumb down, but kind of like nullify. These guys are dealing with like dead bodies. They're dealing with like these demons coming out of the ground. I would lose my shit. And that's what you would expect to do in other zombie movies because that's what they do. But in this one, they're just like, okay.
So they're feeling the life and death aspect of it, but they're not feeling any sense of
urgency,
importance, or urgency.
Yeah,
they're feeling life and death because they're talking about it, they're discussing it, they're seeing what's happening.
Yeah, they're
affected by it, but it's not the extreme of whatever movies are about.
Because that's the Jarmusch style. He likes making sure that the comedic timing is everything in these exchanges and dialogue, regardless of what scene you're going into. Driver and Murray have a great chemistry together. Whenever in the cop car, they play it down, they keep it dry, and they make it so hilarious. It's great.
Is so incredibly dry.
And it's carried out throughout the entire movie. Like Murray's character
till the end.
Till the end. He loses his stuff a little bit like later on because when the zombies are coming piling onto the cop car and they're about to take them apart and everything, they still have this comedic timing where it's like, okay, I'm the straight man, I'm the straighter man. Let's see which way the wind blows. It's
right.
Great, and those are little things that caused me to really enjoy the film.
Well,
but the pacing was so slower than other Jarmusch movies that I've seen. It kind of counteracted things, which is why, like, on one hand, I don't know whether honestly, this is the first one that we've talked about that I don't know whether I like this film or not. I definitely don't like it, yet I don't dislike it either because I'm still thinking about it. I'm wondering what he's really trying to do.
I'm mostly confused by it myself, but I walked away going, I liked it.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
It was really weird.
And that's all I could convince myself of one way or the other.
Yeah.
And usually when I'm going to see a movie, it's for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
If I'm entertained, it's
then you're
a like.
Go. I think there was this
There's a few that we've seen.
There's a few
for this podcast.
No, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. But I mean, hugely disappointed and like legitimately disappointed.
Yeah, not entertaining at all.
Don't like it at all,
no.
Right? However, every single movie I've seen has had positives.
Yeah.
Pros.
Yeah.
Cons. Whatever.
This one, it's right down the line, though. I'm not really sure what my opinion is about this. I'll have to watch it again.
So the ones that the storylines that I didn't really dig or get into were the trio of hipsters.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also the detention juvies.
Yeah. The young
juvies. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, you're
juvies.
fine. You're fine.
So the juvies and the millennials / hipsters.
Yeah.
Like I understand why they were put in there.
Right.
And I understand why the actors were cast in the roles that they were cast because that was certainly.
But why not just make it about
leading?
The cops?
But they were pointless.
Yeah. So that's one thing we do have.
They were so pointless for me in the movie, and I don't know why.
Because Jarmusch has a good way of well, like we mentioned it before, he doesn't give a crap about plot. He wants to make sure that we have these little vignettes of talented people and see how they deal with the dialogue. That's how his movies work. In this particular case, he had one or two too many vignettes that he's trying to glue into it, I think, that we just ended up not caring about.
So here's what I want. I want more Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
I want more Tom Waits.
Yes.
I don't want the others.
You don't want Selena Gomez. You don't want
no, because like for one, I'm older now.
Okay.
I have no idea who any of them were.
Okay.
I'm sorry, actors. They all did a really fine job.
Totally.
With what the movie was. I don't have any negative criticism there. But with like I recognize Selena Gomez right now because she's the most inundated into the world now.
Yeah. Pop culture queen.
Pop culture,
sure.
yeah.
It's here in Ariana Grande and all that other stuff.
Right. So, And to be honest, she was a likable character for me because she connected with the nerd.
Yeah.
You know, she engaged. She didn't make fun of. You know, all of the things that everybody else did.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the payoff.
I feel you. Well, because they
like if they're gonna set them up to be in the show, to be zombie victims or zombies themselves,
make us care about them first.
Make us care.
Right.
The only payoff that I got was you can do it now.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
oh, sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Just call it out.
There we go.
Spoiler alert.
Thank you very much.
Spoiler alerts.
This thing with Adam Driver. Adam Driver holding her severed
That was the best
head.
scene. That was the best scene.
You know what I mean? But
Did you notice as soon as he held it up, her eyes opened for a second and they closed again?
Yeah, I did. But so I mean that's the only payoff for doing that, because that's what you expect from the end result of this trio. And I don't know if there were a trio couple.
Yeah.
Like,
who knows?
or if there was
or just friends. You don't know about
that
it.
made no sense. I didn't know how to put that.
You're fine.
If there was a relationship amongst all three.
Yeah, who knows?
Because it was a very strange dynamic in the car.
I have this theory that, and the car too. They talked about the car. They mentioned the name of the car and more than once. There was no reason for it. I think that all these little rope-a-dopes, and we can talk about what happened with Tilda Swinton too, as the biggest one, the rope-a-dope in the movie. All these different asides and all these different things, I think was just Jim Jarmusch kind of giving the audience the finger, trying to make them like do this or that. But while we're confused about, what's going to happen to the girl, what's going to happen to the car, or whatever, he does it in his own way. He makes fun of these zombie tropes that we have. I think that besides the fact that Jim Jarmusch has a style where it's all low key, it's all dry, and it's all okay, yeah. And if you really have to listen to the context of the dialogue in order to get the jokes. I think using that, he's also making fun of the different kind of things we see in all zombie movies. The hero doesn't have a lot of emotion. He has to be the cool guy who's capable of violence. You have the old teacher who is a little bit more emotional, but's been there before, so it's kind of old. You have the female love interest played by Chloe Sevigny, who ends up losing her shit at the end of the movie and does all this other stuff, which happens in every zombie movie that you see. Every zombie movie that has ever made any kind of box office smash that anybody knows about has always had, at the very least, those three things.
Okay.
And I think that the way in which Jarmusch's,
teacher-student love interest.
Yeah, exactly. Or the way in which he wants to just push his sense of humor is he's giving you the side glance where he's like, you know what I'm talking about, right? I think he does it by portraying these characters in this way, but he just does it in a way that makes it work with his style. You're going to find these different characters in every zombie movie, only it's going to be harder. It's going to be so much easier to see them because they're all going to be shouting and screaming, and there's going to be a lot of blood and everything. Okay. You get that here, but you have to look for it. And I think that this is his way of kind of criticizing the genre. And it's a girl who Chloe Sevigny's character is a girl who is, in the first few scenes of the movie, of course she's going to lose her shit and commit suicide.
Spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts.
By zombie. Thank you very much. I'm glad you said it. Because all women in zombie movies, not so much anymore, because luckily we have better stories and everything. But back in the day,
now we have Michonne.
Exactly. But the whole thing with I broke my ankle while I was getting out of the shower. I can't run away from the monster zombie, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think this might have been his own way of kind of making fun of that. Maybe
sure,
not, but
sure, I agree with him. Yeah, let's just dive right into the Tilda of it, because it's really interesting because she's grown
Madam
on me
Tilda Swinton.
She's grown on me over the last several films, several years.
Yeah. What an actress.
Yeah, and I could appreciate her work before, but I always found the previous work to be annoying, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to Constantine when she played Gabriel.
See, I love her in that movie.
I get it. It was Gabriel that she played, right? Or was it Michael?
I believe so. I'll check.
It was Gabriel or Michael. I can't remember. Right. I think it was Michael.
You're disappointed about.
So here's the thing.
Like what, she was being used.
Now
like
when
a
I see Tilda in a movie, I'm just like, sweet, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, she did play
right?
Gabriel. Yeah, you're right.
It was Gabriel. Okay. So
So you think of that, but then you
she
think
did
of
it so beautifully in this one to make her.
She's a character actress.
The strangest character in this hodgepodge of a movie.
But again, I think it's Jarmusch making fun.
But one of the most likable.
Oh,
weird,
totally.
Like rope-a-dope's probably the best way to put it.
She wasn't even human.
Wait, gotta hit the button.
Sorry.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
So, did you find it refreshing that she was able to go to something a little bit more?
I was just like, what the hell? I was just like, what the hell? From the samurai choreography at the very beginning to her weird ass makeup job as the Undertaker.
Right. So there's a scene. So Tilda Swinton's character is she knows how to use a samurai sword. She's also an alien from outer space, and
which we don't find out
until the end. But she's also the owner of the funeral home in Centerville, where
recently, yeah.
And there's a great scene where she is doing the makeup for two of these deceased individuals, but it isn't like regular makeup. It's like from an '80s Trapper Keeper, where you have like the neon blush and like it was super weird. And it's one of these situations where her character is out there in every aspect of her story.
Hers is the most connected to the actual story too.
Yeah, that's why
she's the one that fit.
Yeah. What are you going to do during a zombie apocalypse? You're going to try and kill zombies as quickly as possible. I mean, that's the way that the whole genre goes now. Because even in this one too, they're attracted to sound or whatever it is. And when you see her, it's such a departure from what you would expect to see given what the other characters are doing. But Tilda Swinton's played this character before.
Oh,
she's played genres, different departures.
Variation,
of variation.
Yeah, for sure. Like I just watched again some of the scenes from the Coen Brothers movie Hail Caesar.
Yeah,
and she played double role in that. And
yeah,
that's one of my favorite things to do if I get asked to be two parts in the same movie.
I feel yeah.
Like,
I still think
that's like the best bonus ever. Right?
Absolutely. She should have got an Oscar for Snowpiercer. I mean, I still hold that to this day. You don't. Oh, no, God, no. That should be the next one we do. I will. Okay, good. But that's just one. Like that's Tilda Swinton. I mean, we could speak for like the next 5 hours and try and take apart like the capabilities that these actors have given the parts that they played in this movie.
Well, for sure we could. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, though, is going back to that whole. We've got the trio of teenagers. We've got the trio of millennials. We've got Tilda by herself, even though she's technically in a trio.
Yes.
with as an Undertaker with her two victims.
Absolutely.
We've got the trio.
Do you think it's a theme?
It's very much a theme of threes throughout the entire film.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at. Obviously, it's a 3-act movie, but
right.
But
under 2 hours.
There's this interesting trio of things that happen. You've got the 3 cops.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You've got the 2 ladies and
the diner trio
and the diner trio,
right.
Which later turned into a duo when Danny Glover and let me think, what was the other?
Yeah, there are a couple duos there. Yeah. RZA.
Oh, RZA and Caleb Landry-Jones.
And the kid, right.
And then
so there are a couple buddies.
Right.
And then trios.
Yeah.
Which was very, very strange. Anyway, where was I going with that? I was going...
The way in which it fits the vignettes that make up the movie. Or like the story structure that was going through.
Yeah, there was one more thing that was...
Steve Buscemi didn't have anybody to work with in regards to that. I mean, he wasn't really partners with anybody's character.
No, he was the lonely old farmer.
Yeah. But there are all these God. I loved it when his dog jumped over the rocks. Right, he was like, "Peace, I'm kicking."
Yeah.
There are all these little underlying jokes that are going through here. The Steve Buscemi's hat is a thing to talk about because it was like a Trump hat, but instead of saying "Make America Great Again," it said "Make America White Again," and it was red with
yes,
white
I remember
print.
that. I remember that in the diner.
Yeah,
speaking with Danny Glover.
Right. Maybe it's just that comedy is better in threes, and when you have 3 people saying the same joke over and over again, like with the wild animals,
right.
Or when you have like 3 different people saying with Steve Buscemi's character, he played Frank Miller. You just said it. They all said they had this coming, Frank, or Frank's an asshole, or whatever like that. Because again, he plays against the flow of the movie. The pacing of the movie is so slow that any little bit of humor, we're gonna just we're gonna grab at it like we're starving or something. Maybe that's the way he likes to put in structure. With Jarmusch, he knows he has all the time in the world. He can stretch things out as much as he wants. That's his thing. That's what he does. So maybe a way in which to carry this odd pacing, and I thought it was odd. I thought it was a lot slower moving than other movies of his that I've seen. Maybe it's good to have things broken up where you have trios and duos of actors and characters so that they can bounce things off of one another and you're not getting the same line from the same person all the time.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character in it?
So strange.
It was Tilda, right?
I've got to say it was Tilda or Tom. Tom Waits was pretty entertaining.
I thought like
the obscure, like, I mean, and you get a payoff from the opening joke to the end joke too.
That's good.
So
it was good chicken. I don't think they used him enough. I mean, Tom Waits is a really good storyteller. I don't think they did either. And like they had like this VO going and everything, but it was just thrown here and there. That's one of the things that I could criticize about it, I guess, in regards to my own interest. Tom Waits is one of these guys that you just
he's interesting to watch, and his character was interesting.
He's interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
And when you're getting all of this stuff from the main trio with the cops, you're getting a little bit here and there from the side characters, and Tom Waits and Steve Buscemi too. Honestly, I wish they got more screen time. I wish they got more monologues in regards to the film.
And for me, that I would agree with you there because the side stories didn't really matter for me.
Okay, so going further then, if you wanted to, would you watch this movie again to try and see if there is some questions that you still have unanswered? Would you go to put in the energy?
Not
of
right away.
Again? Yeah.
Not right away.
Yeah,
but eventually, yeah.
Do you think
this would be a rewatch for sure?
I mean, like down the line,
just to figure it out or whatever, but not like right away.
Because I've been. You read different reviews that are coming up because the movie at the time of this recording has been out for about 2 weeks, a little bit over. It's actually on its way out of the theaters now.
Right.
It's gonna be on the streaming circuit pretty soon.
Right.
And I am actually this barely happens. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie again, to seeing what I missed the first time. I barely ever do that. The only time that I actually rewatch a movie is because I want to experience the same thing over again, like in The Matrix or something like that, or like with the Spider-Man movie or something. I want to get those feelings again, or it's not with this one. I'm going to specifically be watching it the second time with a completely different mindset and trying to find things I didn't before. That doesn't happen very often with me when it comes to cinema in general, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the movies that I want to watch a second or third time are just mostly for entertainment value or to share the experience with somebody else.
Yeah. That's what I respect about
Aquaman in the theater like 4 or 5 times because I went with different nieces and nephews.
Yeah. No, totally.
You know what I mean? Or friends or whatever.
It's the Toy Story stigma. It's like you watch that movie like 16 times because you have people in your family that haven't seen it yet.
Right. The one that I watched a million times just because I loved the movie was back in the day. It was The Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I saw that 6 times in the theater just because I had to go see it again.
I saw it 4 times just because like the fighting and everything was so good, and the story made sense, beginning, middle, end. Simple bad guy. You can take care of it. I think that that movie was definitely one that was more easily digestible with this one, which kind of raises the question. Should people watch The Dead Don't Die if they've never heard of Jim Jarmusch?
Well, if they want to see a zombie movie, sure. That's literally what this is. Yeah. It's a zombie movie, which is hugely popular right now.
Well, the genre is, right? I mean,
yeah.
Are you tired of the whole zombie thing, the zombie Marvel thing? Not yet?
Not yet.
How much longer do you think you're going to be watching stuff like this?
Well, I mean,
the loaded question.
For me,
I mean, it depends how good
I don't
the movie
think I
is,
ever get old unless they totally ruin everything.
I feel you.
You know?
Yeah. This is an interesting
as long
take
as
on
they
it.
can. Yeah, as long as they can keep a progressive storyline.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
I feel you.
Give me some different versions or lore.
Yeah.
And I'm fine.
I really am surprised by how much this genre has been able to push. How it's been able to reinvent itself over and over again over the last decade.
Right. Because 28 Days Later.
Oh, great.
reinvigorated the entire
Putting
idea.
gasoline on the fire. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
right?
made people think of it as a completely different thing.
Scream did that with the horror movie genre. I mean, there were elements of Scream in this, but it wasn't the best elements of Scream.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's interesting when we're at a time right now, again, like at the time of this recording, it's the summer, it's 2019.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting over San Diego Comic-Con. And
This weekend.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me how some of these ideas are getting recycled and how little I care about them. But when it, like the whole Marvel thing and the comics and all that stuff, I can respect where it's coming from. I'm glad, nerds and geeks and whatever unite. Mm-hmm. And I'm a fan of the MCU. I'm ready to put it to bed because I feel you. Yeah. But because of this movie here, because I'm able to see it in like this really just weird pacing of it and using this genre, I'm ready to pick up zombie movies again. I put them down for a while, but this is kind of like invigorating me to see like, maybe I should watch Zombieland again, or maybe I should, go into back into my horror junket a little bit and see if there's something that I haven't seen before.
The thing that irritates me about zombie movies in general, this one included,
what's that?
Is the reality factor, and I know that that's stupid to say.
Okay,
I really do.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clarify a little bit.
And I'm going to.
Okay.
So
I have faith in you.
If I'm a zombie. Well, and then there's plot holes within the movie.
And this movie's not a good example for plot study whatsoever.
Well, okay, so one of my biggest pet peeves for being taken out of a movie watching experience are the flaws on the technical side of it.
Right.
At the beginning of the movie, they lose their electronic devices.
Right. Radio doesn't work, television doesn't work, cell phones
Yet,
don't work.
Later on, zombies are walking around because they're fascinated with Siri and Google and everything else.
Right.
Their screens are all lit up to shit.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to mention this. Okay.
And it was so incredibly frustrating to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, well, if we're going to set up that is part of what doesn't work.
Right.
Because of whatever this situation is,
right?
Well, then don't reintroduce it for a gag.
Mentioning what you said before.
It would have been great if they had it.
Yeah.
No screen. But I guarantee you when they were going through it, I'm going to give them credit for this.
Right.
I bet you they did it without the screens lit up and it didn't play.
I guarantee you it did. It was a night shoot. And
it was a night shoot. They couldn't see what was going on.
Right.
All they had to do was do some sort of explosion.
Right.
Car bonfire.
I love it how you come up.
Solar light system somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Solutions. Yes.
Literally though, put it in the context of the movie.
Right.
Don't just say, "Well, fuck it, guys. We're gonna light up the screens." You're welcome.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I am bowing.
Calm down. I'm not gonna say it again. Jesus, guys.
But that I found to be incredibly irritating because it pulled me right out of it. I love the fact that people, were playing tennis and
it was a great sight gag. It was awesome.
The kids were at the candy store and the adults were at the hardware store, etc. I loved that new take on zombies.
Yeah.
Great new zombie lore.
They have memories.
Your brain is reanimated. You want to go back and do the things that you are the most familiar with.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense to me.
Right. I love it how you always come up with a way to, but the hardest rule to follow, because whenever it comes to
establish the world and live in the world.
That's it. You make the rules.
Yeah.
You live by the rules.
Right.
Which is why The Matrix is such
establish
a good movie.
Establish the world, and I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
And then just stay honorable to it. Look, we could have zebra zombies coming down the street. It doesn't matter. It could be the most outlandish thing. As long as there was pretext for that earlier in the dialogue, and there was some sort of rule set up that explained why that was happening.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with like a fantasy movie like this, and it is fantasy, zombies don't exist, obviously, you can go as far out as you want. You can say anybody who eats a grapefruit is going to become a zombie. As long as you're honorable to it, you don't see in the next shot somebody eating an apple and
that's
getting
why
the virus.
I love Santa Clarita Diet. I really do.
Don't you dare talk shit about Santa Clarita.
I am not going to.
How dare you?
I love it. They established a world and they're living within the world.
Right.
Right? Anything that you do with any of these genres, establish the world, then stay there. That's okay to do.
It's okay to do. And it's okay to have fun with it and play with it.
And it's okay to introduce aliens in the mix if that's the direction that you want to go.
So let's talk about that too, because I think that was the huge culmination of what this whole movie was about. I think this whole movie in one way was just a big joke. I think that Jarmusch was trying to make fun of the genre in his own way, still trying to have not a plot, but these little vignettes of talented people talking together. And every once in a while, he did it in dialogue. He did it by, throwing these different things out here. Hey, you know what? I'm having fun. Let's put in the alien element and just have him. Why? Because fuck off. That's why. Pardon my language. Again,
yes, exactly. Right.
That's his style.
But I really do think that that's probably the direction that he was taking with that.
And let's explain that, because Tilda Swinton's character by the end, we find out that she is an alien and
Martian,
maybe she's
maybe we're saying it's because it's a flying saucer that we
could
see.
be Venetian. Who knows? But she, at the end of the movie, her story arc ends with her calling a flying saucer, and it beams her up and flies away, which soon after...
In the middle of the chaos.
In the middle of the chaos, right. Soon after, we see another thing that I think Jarmusch was making fun of, the iconic characters, coming out of the police car and just killing a lot of zombies and fighting to the death, which is where Bill Murray and Adam Driver's character meet their end.
And the alien was the only capable being in this scenario.
So now
to defend herself, itself, whatever you want to say.
So I think that was feeding into Jarmusch's overall message, which was encapsulated in Tom Waits' monologue towards the end. He's talking about how everybody in the world is actually a zombie, and they come back and they are still slaves to the things that they wanted to. Right. Going back to your point about zombies craving and needing what they were familiar with. A lot of critics online have talked about how that feels like having this political kind of message being shoved down their throats. I thought it was just another joke that Jarmusch was putting in, but I think it is supported when you go through and you think of the idea of Tilda Swinton's character ending up being an alien, and the alien being the only one who's truly capable at killing the zombies. Somebody
who's smart enough to leave
eventually. Who's not human, who's not, American maybe, who knows. But I think he could have played with this a little bit, because obviously there's stomach noises. Obviously not everybody took it as a joke like I did. Some people took this a little too seriously, I think, and were use that as a point of heavy criticism for the film. Well,
good for them.
Right.
I still think that it was funny and part of what the movie was.
Do you think that...
And I think that if he did want to make a statement, I think that's what the statement is.
You think that he's trying to be political with it, or...
Sure, why not? I mean, if he has a platform and he feels strongly about it, I mean, why not?
Doesn't it switch the focus a little bit? I mean, as just a...
We're watching a damn zombie movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I do.
It's just like if he wants to put a political statement in there, do it.
But he's an independent filmmaker who does great independent film.
Wonderful.
We have to take him seriously, Andrus.
No,
we can't.
Don't. No, we don't. Not after watching this movie, we don't. No, we don't.
Just the deadpan. You're throwing me hardcore Jarmusch right now, and I like it. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's just this was such a strange,
it was
oddball
so
movie.
Weird.
Okay,
what knocked you off balance the most when you were watching this? What was your most moment when you were watching this? Besides being kicked out of the immersion with the cell phones.
No, well, it was Tilda in the police station when she went hypersonic. With her typing.
Spoiler alert.
That's great.
She ends up coding a message to that's obviously her relay message to get picked up.
Yeah.
She called her Uber.
Yeah. This plan is done for. Let's go get pizza or whatever.
Yeah. Jupiter Transportation.
Yeah, you're right. There's a scene where she goes into the police department, and because they see her do her kick-ass stuff with her sword and killing 8 zombies or something.
I need to correct myself.
Okay.
It was the handoff of the big, very obviously heavy barrier.
Oh yes.
So it was.
That was great.
It was the door barrier that was a big heavy piece of metal that Adam Driver struggled with, and she ends up one-handing it.
Right.
So
that's great.
For me, that was off because I'm just like, well, what the hell? Thanks for the continuity, you assholes.
But then they fill it in.
But then they fill it in with the rest. She's alien. That's fine. But that And like even her weird character that she played,
Yeah.
That's fine. She's an Undertaker.
There you go.
She has permission to be as weird as she wants.
So why is it then that this is so strange? Tilda Swinton plays the strangest character in the movie. She plays an alien from a far-off planet who kills zombies with a samurai sword. Just saying that sentence makes me excited and happy because it's so weird. But
in an everyday little town,
exactly.
USA. Yeah.
But her arc, despite her character being so freaking strange, makes the most sense. And it's outrageous what happens. She's an alien being taken back from Earth during a zombie apocalypse. That's freaking weird. But her story arc makes the most sense. You have like these cops that are just doing their job. It's fine. But is Adam Driver's character a psycho? Because he has no problem beheading people who
he's a
haven't changed
sociopath.
yet. Yeah, exactly.
Or he's just the one that's prepared for this.
Right.
For this world.
Which puts up a lot of questions. Chloe Sevigny's character is strong female cop. She shouldn't be bothered by anything.
But she's the one that
who loses her shit. Which again, like, has so many levels. Is he playing with zombie genres in general? Is the I think that just really speaks to Jarmusch's style so much. He doesn't give two licks about the plot of the movie, but he does care about how dynamic and how funny, in their own deadpan way, in the Jarmusch style, the individual vignettes, the individual trios and actors can make the movie.
Well, here's what I would say is if you put in different actors playing the same roles, does it change the movie?
If they're
good.
I
think in this one,
think it does?
It changes it because they're going to bring their own take on the character.
And the timing is so good. These guys, that's what really speaks to the talent of this cast. They just know the flow, and they just commit to it, and it's so good.
Even when they're doing that scene where they break character, talking about the actual script.
How many times did they break the fourth wall? I counted 2 times.
So they're talking about the theme song.
Yeah.
And then the one at the end.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay.
I also counted 2.
Okay.
So, but like the theme song was also a very lovely way. This is the theme song.
Yeah. That's a
and we will hear it several times over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even get it on CD.
Oh, dude.
In mint condition.
That's how I knew that Bill Murray's character was taking a turn, because he actually did something physical where he took the CD
he got
and
upset and threw it out.
Whereas before he got shot at in the first act, he just ducked and he's like, no, it'll be fine. We'll just let him go or whatever. Right. When Tom Waits' character shot at them.
Yeah.
So do you think then that there's a little bit of the opinion then that Jim Jarmusch didn't make this movie for anybody but his fans? People who are just affiliated with his work before, and that he's
could be,
which could be thought of as maybe being egotistical. I don't know. I'm fine with that. I am a Jarmusch fan, but
only because I have so many different teams in my head. Think about this movie with Jeff Bridges as Bill Murray.
Sure.
And it just popped right out of my head.
Tom Holland.
No. Oh. Don't you dare.
We're going to do Spider-Man next, guys.
No.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go with that universe. No, I'm just kidding. Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin, yeah.
So because they're also it's a very much either a father-son dynamic or it's very much a teacher-student dynamic, right? Yeah. And we could even go a little bit younger with that too. But, I mean, if you put the two of them in those roles, does the movie still play in the same way?
No, I don't think it does. I don't think the dialogue is going to support it because the dialogue is so plain.
It just takes place in Texas now.
I know, but it has to take... Don't you dare.
Right?
But yeah. But that's the thing, too. That's another thing that I want to talk about a little bit before we close it up. What happened here is something that I think only good actors can do. They played down and were able to find the timing and the writing so that it made the maximum kind of... I mean, that's the thing. We've mentioned it more than one occasion. They told really bad jokes in this movie, but because they did such a good job of keeping it low key, the second we got like a piece of humor, we laughed at it. I laughed at all these. They could have said, why the chicken crossed the road, and I would have laughed at the delivery because it would have.
There's a chicken joke?
Yeah. Oh.
Another one?
How dare you?
I know, right?
It's true. There is.
No, I would have laughed at it too.
But you make a good point. Like I don't think that different actors would be able to do the same job and it would be the same kind of movie. I think that we have talented actors here who understand with so very little to work with how they can still make it work. And there isn't a lot to work with this. There isn't a lot of dynamic scenes in this movie. When you look at the overall running time, there are dynamic scenes, but most of it are just, again, these little vignettes where there's trades and dialogue, and it's very low key.
See, I was actually setting up for the movie doesn't really change depending on the actors in it.
How come?
It only changes based on characters and what they bring with the characters.
That's a good point.
Or at least that's what I'm saying now. I may have been setting up the fact that, yes, it doesn't change a damn thing.
I gotcha.
You know, but... Or it changes a lot. It really doesn't change a lot in the sense that the tone is still what the tone is.
Yeah.
You still get deadpan actors in there. If you can't get actors that can't do the deadpan, I don't think it works.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, you put different actors in those roles. Let's call it a female cast now.
Yeah.
It's a very different movie.
Yeah.
But if they're still doing the deadpan stuff, still has the same tone.
I gotcha. Well,
right?
let's talk about then the last little bit of it that we get into from your standpoint professionally, from an actor's standpoint, from somebody who, and we can talk about from the casting director kind of standpoint as well. What do you think were the good and bad things about this movie? What do you think were some of the challenges that, for instance, casting might have faced with this, with such a huge talented cast to throw into this?
Honestly, I think that with Selena Gomez, I think that somehow somebody knew somebody that got her, because there's a couple music affiliations in here.
Yeah.
Are we saying RZA or RZA?
RZA.
Thank you.
You're fine. You're not a Wu-Tang fan? That's fine.
I don't even know. So, but I mean, I know him as an actor that from what he's done. I also knew that he was a musician, whether or not I know what band he is, but Iggy Pop's also.
Iggy Pop, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Who's his counterpart? The zombie woman?
Oh gosh.
Is she also a musician?
I'm not
I would
sure.
imagine so. But there's a bunch of musician connections in this.
Uh-huh.
So I very much think that
Sarah Driver, that was her name.
Yeah, and Sarah Driver is who? Adam's sister, mom? I don't know. You know what I mean?
I do.
So if there is the music world connection,
right?
Is that how Selena Gomez is now a part of this and pitching her name?
And that's something you have to consider when you're staffing the film.
Right. And I think they're very smart in that sense. But then, does it make any sense to have her in it? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is nay.
Nay. Okay, I feel you.
I think from the casting perspective, the main characters, I mean, they hit a home run.
Yeah.
I really do. And people are watching it. Not a lot of people are watching it, but people are watching it. So that means casting did its job.
Right.
Everybody else, I wasn't disappointed with, and maybe I was more impressed with the diner women than I was with the Juvies or the millennials.
Yeah, you can pick your favorites here and there
right.
for sure. What are some of the challenges do you think these actors went through when dealing with this? I mean, obviously, Driver and Murray both worked with Jarmusch on in the past, but we have actors here who have never been in this kind of movie before. What do you think were some of the challenges that they had to deal with?
I would just say keeping the genre or the story intact for whatever the vision
because the pacing
that they
is
were
so
told
slow.
was.
The pacing is so slow.
And if it is an accurate statement said in the scripted lines, people only got their scene. Well, then they're out of context for everything else with the rest of the movie, and I think that's a big problem.
Yeah,
I think you as an actor understanding your place in the movie.
Sure.
And what your character needs to do to move the story forward is a really big piece of the puzzle.
The biggest piece.
Yeah.
Well, I can respect where you're coming from. I think from an audio perspective, this is just cut and dry. Make sure your labs are clean, you're getting good sound, and the music.
What did you think about all of the zombie stuff?
The zombie sounds were good. I mean, it's not anything that you haven't
new?
heard. No, nothing was new. It's the same thing you hear before. A lot of the extras definitely took the zombie classes that you can take in Hollywood. All these. Look, I hate to say it because it's gonna make me sound like such a snob, but I've seen all these zombie movies before. They're was one that I thought was interesting with Sarah Driver and Iggy Pop, where she had to keep her arm over her head because it was broken and she didn't want to like to fall off or whatever. But like the same kind of noises, the same kind of growls, the same kind of like sliding on the gravel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when you get later into it, you do see some interesting things with like the tennis players and the baseball players, and they're trying to do like this weird kind of not Muppet, but puppet kind of movement with the objects and everything. It was great. It was interesting. But if I'm doing audio for this film, the only thing I'm worried about is making sure that everybody can be heard clearly. I think probably the biggest problem that any of them had on this on the day was probably airplanes flying over or something like that. So. And that's great when it comes to like independent stuff as well, because nobody should worry about audio when it comes to a dialogue-driven film. It should just be like this luxury. It should feel like being this luxury and not an integral part of the movie, which all audio is. But it should be this thing that nobody has to worry about, so they can concentrate on what's really important, especially when you're not going to take away from the dialogue with special effects, lasers, and dinosaurs coming out of nowhere that you can cover things up with.
Well, what did you think about the alien ship?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't like it either, to be honest. When I was so taken aback by it when it showed up, I'm like, what the hell's going on? That I didn't have a lot of time to process. But yeah, no, I loved some of the just overall zombie moments, the hands coming out of the ground.
Yeah, classic stuff.
As long as there were some fun moments there. Welcome back, Mr. Murray. That's what I'm gonna say. Welcome back.
Okay, so let me get the music cue right.
Did you like it? Now talking about it,
I did.
Yeah, I've
decided that I do like this movie, and I look forward to seeing it again to probably like it more, hopefully. But guys, we do really appreciate the fact that you've taken some time to listen to us talk about The Dead Don't Die. If you feel that we're right in the money, if you feel that we're just blowing smoke at you or whatever, let us know. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and give us a listen on SoundCloud, and please feel free to email us pullfocuspod@gmail.com. We're trying to do our best, but of course, you have to take into consideration. We may be wrong, but it's your job to tell us.
I think I'm going to change that.
Want to change it?
Yeah.
What do you want to change
Give
it
me
to?
some reverb. We are never wrong. How's that?
That's really good.
I don't know. I think we're gonna try something new.
Okay.
Because we are never wrong.
The only email we're going to get this month is from Bert. He's just gonna be.
I know he's gonna
doing
be
his schedule
like, you sons of bitches.
Anyway, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're back, and guys, it's good to talk to you again. Take care of yourselves, love one another, and keep watching movies and all that stuff. Bye.